What if two neighboring nations, once part of the same land, ended up shaping the future of Southeast Asia in completely different ways? What if Singapore and Malaysia, two countries so close geographically yet so different economically, found themselves competing and cooperating in a world that looks nothing like today? Welcome back to Infosphere, the channel where we uncover the hidden truths behind global transformations. Today, we dive deep into one of the most fascinating questions of the next decade. What will Singapore and Malaysia look like by the year 2030? Over the last few decades, these two countries have walked very different paths. Singapore, a tiny island city-state, turned its lack of natural resources into a story of innovation and success. Malaysia, blessed with land, culture, and natural wealth, became one of Asia's most promising developing economies. But as the world races toward artificial intelligence, green energy, and digital trade, the future of both countries is being rewritten. In this video, we'll explore the 5 biggest transformations that could define the relationship between Singapore and Malaysia by the year 2030, from technology and economy to environment, geopolitics, and social development. So stay with us till the end, because the story of these two nations is about more than rivalry. It's about how cooperation could define the next chapter of Southeast Asia's rise. The digital revolution, connecting two economies. By the year 2030, Singapore and Malaysia will likely be connected not just by roads and trade routes, but by an invisible network of digital innovation. Singapore's Smart Nation Plan, launched years ago, aims to make every corner of its economy run on artificial intelligence, automation, and data-driven decision-making. Already, nearly 80% of Singapore's public services are online, and by 2030, that number could reach almost 100%. Malaysia, on the other hand, is catching up fast. The Malaysian government's Digital Economy Blueprint, or MyDigital, is setting the stage for a fully connected society. By 2030, experts predict that digital industries could contribute more than a quarter of Malaysia's GDP. The rise of tech hubs like Cyberjaya and Penang is creating an ecosystem where startups and global investors can thrive side by side. But here's where the real magic happens: cross-border collaboration. Both nations are investing in data centers, fintech ecosystems, and AI-based industries, allowing Malaysian talent to support Singaporean firms, while Singapore's capital fuels Malaysia's growth. The upcoming Johor Singapore Special Economic Zone could become the beating heart of this collaboration, connecting the two economies through smart infrastructure and digital logistics. By 2030, this cross-digital alliance could turn the Singapore-Malaysia border from a line of separation into a bridge of opportunity, a model the rest of Asia may seek to copy. The Economic Balancing Act. Singapore's economy is expected to remain one of the world's strongest by 2030, with a GDP per capita possibly exceeding $100,000. Its focus on finance, biotech, and digital services keeps it competitive in the global market. But even Singapore faces challenges: the rising cost of living, an aging population, and increasing competition from other tech hubs like Dubai and Seoul. Meanwhile, Malaysia is transforming itself into a regional manufacturing and energy powerhouse. By 2030, Malaysia could become one of the top 5 economies in ASEAN, with a growing middle class and foreign investments pouring into renewable energy, semiconductor manufacturing, and automotive technologies. Yet the real story will be interdependence. Singapore's financial expertise will need Malaysia's physical space and resources, while Malaysia's industries will rely on Singapore's global connections and capital markets. For example, Singaporean investors already dominate sectors like real estate, retail, and logistics in Malaysia. In return, Malaysia provides the workforce, raw materials, and land Singapore lacks. By the end of this decade, expect a new kind of economic relationship, one not based on rivalry, but mutual necessity. Singapore's brains and Malaysia's brawn could combine to make both stronger than ever before. The green transition and sustainability goals. Climate change will be one of the biggest forces shaping both nations by 2030. Singapore, despite its small size, is one of the most ambitious countries in Asia when it comes to green innovation. It aims to achieve net zero emissions by mid-century, with a massive push toward electric transport, urban farming and solar energy. Already, over 95% of Singapore's electricity grid is gas-powered, but it's transitioning to renewables and hydrogen technologies. Malaysia, with its vast forests and biodiversity, holds the natural key to sustainability in the region. However, it also faces pressure to balance growth with conservation. Deforestation, palm oil dependency, and energy consumption are challenges Malaysia is determined to overcome through policies like the National Energy Transition Roadmap. By 2030, renewable energy could account for nearly 40% of Malaysia's energy mix. The exciting part: both countries are now cooperating on cross-border green projects, from clean energy trading between Johor and Singapore to joint efforts in carbon capture and waste management. Singapore's expertise in green tech and Malaysia's natural assets could make them Southeast Asia's environmental leaders. By 2030, the two may stand together as a shining example of how small nations can make a big impact on global climate goals. The future of society and lifestyle. Beyond economics and technology, the biggest question remains: what will life actually look like for people in Singapore and Malaysia by the year 2030? In Singapore, automation will transform daily life. Driverless cars, cashless systems, and AI-driven education will make life efficient, but also more competitive. The island nation's population may exceed 6 million, and diversity will continue to grow as foreigners fill gaps in healthcare, construction, and digital sectors. Yet, social challenges like housing affordability and work-life balance will continue to test the system. Malaysia's society will look very different, but equally dynamic. By 2030, Malaysia's population could reach nearly 40 million, with a young, tech-savvy generation leading innovation and entrepreneurship. The middle class will expand rapidly, and cities like Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, and Penang will become cultural and technological hotspots. However, there will also be challenges: balancing ethnic harmony, reducing inequality, and ensuring rural areas don't fall behind urban progress. Still, Malaysia's family-oriented culture and diverse identity could become its greatest strengths. Ultimately, both countries will stand as reflections of one another: Singapore as the hyper-modern hub of precision and discipline, and Malaysia as the vibrant land of creativity and culture. Together, they'll shape what it means to live in Southeast Asia in the 21st century. Geopolitics and regional leadership. In a world increasingly divided between major powers like the United States and China, Singapore and Malaysia's positions will be crucial. Singapore's long-standing neutrality and diplomatic agility will keep it as a respected voice in global politics, while Malaysia's growing regional influence will allow it to speak for emerging economies in ASEAN. By 2030, Malaysia may emerge as one of the most important geopolitical players in the region, leveraging its Islamic identity, energy resources, and strategic location between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Singapore, meanwhile, will remain the intellectual and financial heart of Southeast Asia, hosting global conferences, mediating disputes, and shaping the digital economy. Together, the two could form a dual engine of ASEAN leadership, balancing progress with diplomacy. If they manage to cooperate instead of compete, their alliance could redefine Asia's future, making the region more stable, innovative, and prosperous than ever before. So, what will the future really look like by the year 2030? Will Singapore continue to soar as Asia's most futuristic city, or will Malaysia rise to reclaim its place as the region's economic heart? The truth is, the future of both nations depends on how they view each other. If rivalry turns into partnership, Singapore and Malaysia could together lead Southeast Asia into a golden era of innovation, sustainability, and unity. But if old political divisions and economic competition resurface, both might miss out on the full potential of cooperation. As global challenges like climate change, digital transformation, and population shifts reshape the world, Singapore and Malaysia's destiny will remain deeply intertwined. One has the vision, the other has the resources. One has the precision, the other has the passion. Together, they can show the world that the future of Southeast Asia is not about competition, it's about collaboration. So what do you think? Will the year 2030 bring unity or rivalry between Singapore and Malaysia? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this exploration into the future, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Infosphere, and hit the bell icon, because the next story might just change how you see the world.